Tennessee Football Talk is currently in second place of our Week 2 sub-battle against all the other college football chat sports teams that we cover here right at the office. Second place isn't bad. It's no first place, though, and I need to get in first place. I need to prove to everybody here that Vol Nation is the best fan base in the world. If you haven't joined us yet, today's the perfect day to do it. Hit that big red subscribe button for free daily coverage on your Tennessee Volunteers. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Tennessee Football Talk. My name is Joey Petersen. We are jam-packed for today's show. We got a lot to cover. Starting off, we're going to talk Connor Stalions. We're going to put the tinfoil hats on because he addressed the cheating accusations against him from that 2022 Tennessee-South Carolina game. The second thing we're discussing is the Tennessee Volunteers this morning lost a pretty big recruit to Bill Belichick and the UNC Tar Heels. And they're going to wrap this thing up talking about some major college football news that impacts Tennessee, and it has to do with the transfer portal, okay? Do not go anywhere for that one. Before we hear from Stalions, I want to catch you up on why we are hearing from Stalions. Okay, if you go back all the way to 2022, it was my senior year of college. It was the best year ever because we were one of the best teams in the country, and I got to watch all of it from about the fifth row in Neyland Stadium. Michigan and Tennessee were on a playoff collision course. Okay, Tennessee's only loss that year was to Georgia, and they weren't set to make the SEC championship game because at that time, it was just best in the East, best in the West. Georgia was going to go, and if, everything worked out like it should have, they beat Missouri, they beat South Carolina, they beat Vandy, they would end up most likely going to the college football playoff, where Michigan would have assumed they would have played Tennessee. Many people think that Connor Stalions gave Tennessee signs to South Carolina in 2022. Because many people think that he did not want to play Tennessee, that he wanted to avoid having to face Tennessee in the college football playoff. And there's multiple reasons that many people think that he gave South Carolina those signs to then beat Tennessee and take them out of the playoff race. Reason number one, Stalions admitted last year that he shared signals with Ohio State in 2021 because Michigan needed Michigan State to lose to the Buckeyes. Reason number two, weeks before playing Tennessee in 2022, Shane Beamer actually told reporters that he shares information with other programs' coaches about opponents. Reason number three, still talking about Shane Beamer here. South Carolina head coach Beamer was fined in 2015 for accepting information about another program's game plan. Reason number four, there is a connection between Michigan and South Carolina because defensive coordinator Clayton White previously worked under Jim Harbaugh at Stanford and was the defensive coordinator for South Carolina at the time. And reason number five, Michigan scouted a Tennessee game in person according to a report for Football Scoop. So all of these things, also you have the fact that South Carolina absolutely blew Tennessee out of the water. And I get it, it's a football game, but all of those things combined with the fact that that happened made some people think that Connor Stalions shared signs of Tennessee's with South Carolina so that way South Carolina would beat Tennessee and Michigan would not have to play the Vols in the playoffs, who was one of the hottest teams in college football at the time. Connor Stalions was asked about this and he responded as follows. I have not talked, never met anyone at South Carolina. I'll also say this about Tennessee too. I just asked Joe Milton and Hendon Hooker. They know the truth. I'm tied with both of them. There was no trying to screw over Tennessee. Let's just say I had everything on a team. Why would I not want to play them in the playoffs? If I had everything on Tennessee, if I had a team signals and felt so confident of this competitive advantage that is going to cause whatever the margin was in that South Carolina game, why would I want another team to do it rather than us? And honestly, you got to give the man his flowers. That's a decently fair point. Like, he makes some sense in that matter. But also, to what he said, kind of to wrap it up there, like, sure, if you had everything on Tennessee, why wouldn't you just use that in the playoff game? Why wouldn't you not want to face that? I feel like you could also look at that and say, maybe at the time, you just said, I'd rather play TCU regardless. Regardless of what I have on Tennessee, they feel like at the time were a more powerful and dangerous football team that you could lose to in the college football playoff eventually. And the hints to South Carolina. I guess the stats, if you look at it for South Carolina, they prove that something a little bit weird happened that night. Again, I'm not saying they didn't 100% beat this team on merit. It was a football game. They won the football game. But also, prior to that game, 20.7 points per game in the SEC. A 3-4 record in the SEC. And then against Tennessee, their offense scored 63 points, up from 20.7, and they held Tennessee to their third lowest points scored all season long. Look, I don't want to stand up here and make excuses. You lost the game. You missed the playoff. And yeah, Hendon Hooker tearing his ACL at the time really, really hurt that team, right? Not just the fact that he wasn't out there on the field, but I think the mental hurdle was really, really hard for them to get over that as well. But also, Connor Stalions and Michigan have pretty much been pathological liars over the last 3 years since this happened. So if it actually did happen, I don't know why we're expecting what he's saying right now to be 100% truthful. What do you think? Okay, I want you to just shoot me straight up. Did Connor Stalions give Tennessee signals to South Carolina? Give me a yes or give me a no in the comment section down below. Weigh in with your answer and let me know what you got to say. All right, that's enough for Connor Stalions. Let's talk about something that actually has to do with Tennessee football in its current state. And unfortunately, it's not the best news because composite four-star offensive tackle commit J.B. Shabazz flipped from the Tennessee Volunteers to the UNC Tar Heels. He's a 3-star on the 24/7 regular website. When you look at the composite, he is a 4-star. He's been committed to UT since July 11th of this past year. So almost 2 months at the current moment, maybe about 7-8 weeks. The thing is like, I still feel good about this recruiting class, even with that flip. I mean, look at the top Tennessee commits you still have. You still have a lot of really good players. Faison Brandon, Tristan Keys, Gabriel Osenda, Celeste Moa, Joel Wyatt, Braden Roos, TJ White, Darian Albert, Zay Anderson, Zach Groves. Kamari Blair isn't even making it on this list. That's how many good blue chip prospects you have. That is the reason you are ranked 8th in the 2026 recruiting rankings among all of the big boys, okay? And let's go back to talk a little bit more, Gage, about how I'm not worried about this one. Because at the end of the day, there's a reason that this happened, right? There is a reason that Shabazz ended up flipping from Tennessee to North Carolina. And I think once Kamari Blair flipped, it showed Shabazz that, hey, we're kind of, I don't want to say looking elsewhere, but they were still looking to get better at that tackle position, even though Shabazz was committed. I think that he looked at the situation at the tackle room in Tennessee, and he thought to himself, you know what? I would have had to compete with David Sanders, who would have had 1 full year under his belt, Kamari Blair, and Gabriel Osenda to have a spot on this offensive line. You never want to be the third best at a singular position in a single recruiting class. And that's what Shabazz would have been. All in all, this does not cool down Heupel one bit. Like, not at all. You could put up that List 5 logo, Gage. Like, if you think about how hot he's been and how good this recruiting class is, it's the best he's ever seen. It's the best the Tennessee class has seen in a very, very long time. This team has more 5-stars than Georgia, USC, A&M, Ohio State, and Michigan as well. They're printing those things out like candy. They're recruiting up there with the best of them. Sure, I'd still like to add a little bit more 4-stars. They don't have a ton of those. They got 11 right now, which is still really, really good, but you could add there. But still, at the end of the day, I have nothing bad to say about what Josh Heupel's doing with the class of 2026. Give me a name. Which player in this recruiting class are you most excited about? And I'll put a caveat on it. You cannot say Faison Brandon, okay? You let me know in the comment section down below. Before we get on out of here, a pretty big ruling came down today. Ross Dellinger reported it with On3 Sports. The NCAA Football Oversight Committee voted to support a single transfer portal window in January. Ross Dellinger, of course, reported that one. So before this, you had the portal window open, I believe it was around December. It stayed open all the way till January. And then you had another one open in the late spring. Of course, that's the one that we know Nico Iamaleava took advantage of. And that's the one we got Joey Aguilar out of. I think this is a wonderful thing to happen to this sport and to really anybody, because you look at the fact that you were losing guys in late April to other teams. So by the time late April rolled around, you usually like to have your roster figured out, but those guys would still leave whether they were starters or not, depending on different situations. Now that can't happen. So now you will know by February the players that you have rolling into fall barring injury. And I think that's going to be better for every single one of us. That's going to do it on today's program. Make sure you got me followed on social media. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Joey Petersen 8 on both those platforms. But if you're not subscribed, change that fact today. If you're still watching, it's obvious you love the content. Good thing is we do this every single day right here on Tennessee Football Talk.